let's do this. What's up, Tweak Town? Hello, people. Another beautiful day. Yup. Hope your 5 senses work. Health and strength is good or excellent. What? What's up, gamers? In the words of Vulcan Raven in Metal Gear, the judgment has been decided. Listen to this. We're talking about the Activision Blizzard deal here. Listen to this. CMA blocks Microsoft Activision merger. UK regulators at the Competition and Market Authority, CMA, have blocked Microsoft Activision merger. Finds 10-year remedy deal isn't sufficient. Says here, it's official. UK regulators at the Competition and Market Authority, CMA, have chosen to block the Microsoft Activision merger. Says here, today the CMA published its final report on the Microsoft Activision merger with a decision to prevent the merger from taking place. The UK regulators have prevented the deal on the grounds of anti-competitive effects arising in the cloud gaming segment and argued that Microsoft failed to sufficiently prove that it proposed 10-year deals with competitors like Nintendo and Nvidia were proposed behavioral remedies to address the substantial lesson of competition. Says here, the CMA has prevented Microsoft's proposed purchase of Activision over concerns the deal would alter the future of fast-growing cloud gaming market, leading to reduced innovation and less choice for UK gamers over the years to come. Less choices. Says your final decision to prevent the deal comes after Microsoft's proposed solution failed to effectively address the concerns in the cloud gaming sector, outlined in the Competition and Market Authority CMA provisional finding published in February. Microsoft proposal contained a number of significant shortcomings connected with the growing and fast-moving nature of cloud gaming service. It did not, number one, it did not sufficiently cover different cloud gaming service business models, including multi-game subscription service. That don't sound right. It was not sufficiently open to providers who might wish to offer versions of games on PC operating systems other than Windows. That don't sound right either. It would standardize the term and condition on which games are available, as opposed to them being determined by the dynamism and creativity of competition in the marketplace, as would be expected in absence of the merger. That don't sound right. That don't sound right either. But I'll explain. Says here, the CMA found that the benefits of adding Activision Blizzard games to Game Pass would not be substantial enough of a benefit to outweigh the harm caused by the merger in the cloud gaming front, especially considered Microsoft would have the incentive to increase the cost of Game Pass subscription on a post-merger basis. Okay, CMA, let me talk to you for a minute. Okay, you said it did not sufficiently cover different cloud gaming service business models, including multi-game subscription service. It did not cover. First things first. When it comes to cloud gaming service, it's just like let's take the internet. Let's take the internet providers for a minute. You got Comcast, you got AT&T, you got Sonic, right? And they're all competitors in the internet market, right? Internet service provider market, right? So each one of them is responsible to explain the model of their business to the governments worldwide, whether it's in whether it's in Europe, overseas, or here in the United States. They need to. Each one of them is responsible. Now, you're saying it did not sufficiently cover different cloud gaming service business models, and including multi-game service. If Microsoft offers a 10-year deal, say to the likes of Nvidia, Nintendo, EE, Ubitus, Boosteroid, that is helping, but at the same time, they are responsible to make sure that their business model grow. Even though Microsoft provides a 10-year contract to them, so Microsoft giving 10-year contracts to everybody, it shows that they are willing to work with people. They weren't being selfish. Number two, you said this. It was not sufficiently open to providers who might wish to offer versions of games on PC and operating systems other than Windows. Okay. When Game Pass was built, Microsoft did put Game Pass on the cloud on Apple devices. Microsoft did put Game Pass on Valve's operating system. So on Linux. So you saying that it was not sufficiently open to providers who might wish to offer versions of games on PC operating system other than Windows. Activision Blizzard was up for grabs. Once Facebook name got into the picture, once they were first mentioned in this acquisition, it became evident that Activision Blizzard was up for grabs. So that means that anybody with big pockets can get Activision Blizzard, and Microsoft beat them to it. But now you're coming back and saying that it was not sufficiently open to providers who might wish to offer versions of games on PC operating systems other than Windows. Valve makes Half-Life, right? So Valve makes Half-Life, Portal, and Counter-Strike and Left 4 Dead, right? And Left 4 Dead and all those games can run on Windows, right? But they also can run on Linux. So you're saying that it was not sufficient to providers who might wish to offer versions of games? It was not sufficient? Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard does not stop Call of Duty from going to other platforms. Because even Microsoft, even they themselves said it, that it wouldn't make sense for them to keep Call of Duty to themselves. So your second point is not adding up. The other one is this: it would standardize the term and condition on which games are available. Available as to oppose them being determined by dynamism and creativity of competition in the market, as would be expected in the absence of a merger. It would standardize the terms and condition on which games are available. That is nonsense. That is a bunch of nonsense. You know, this third option, it goes back to the physical copies versus digital copy argument. When it comes to making games physically or digitally, that is a personal decision. Microsoft purchasing Activision Blizzard wouldn't stop publishers from putting games on CDs versus them making them digitally. And it says, as to oppose of them being determined by dynamism and creativity of competition. What? This third statement makes no sense. It would standardize the term and condition on which games are available, as to opposed to them being determined by dynamism and creativity of competition. When it comes to making games physically and digital, that is a personal decision on the publisher. The publisher do have the right to put the full game on the CD, or make it be available digitally. Microsoft purchasing Activision Blizzard does not stop a developer from making a game physically or digitally. Let me say this to the FTC and CMA. You wouldn't want to deal with me in court, because you guys don't even know what you're talking about here. It would standardize the term and condition on which games are available. Do you know that making games physically and digitally is a decision on the publisher? If a publisher want to decide if they want to make a game physically, they can. If they want to make the game digitally, they can. That's a personal decision. Microsoft purchasing Activision Blizzard does not stop a developer from making a game physically or digitally. Says here, as to oppose being them determined by the dynamism and creativity of competition. When it comes to video games, when it comes to competition, every publisher, every publisher is responsible. Every game publisher is responsible to carry their own weight, and they decide how creative, how competitive, uncreative they want to make their games. When it comes to subscriptions service, every provider is responsible to make their service creative and competitive. This third argument makes no sense. Then it says as would be expected in the absence of the merger. You guys have no argument here. Microsoft purchasing Activision Blizzard does not stop the game industry from growing. It does not stop the publishers from making games physically or digitally. That is a personal decision. And when it comes to competition, every game publisher or every subscription service is responsible to make their service competitive and creative. Microsoft is not responsible for that. When it comes to Activision Blizzard was up for grabs the moment Facebook name got mentioned in the equation. That means anybody with big pockets can get them, and it was on a first come first served basis. The arguments that you guys are trying to make here makes no sense to me. It really doesn't. It was not sufficient open to providers who might wish to offer versions of games. Doesn't Valve provide provide Left 4 Dead, Dota, Counter-Strike, Half-Life, Portal, the orange box on Windows? Doesn't Valve does that? So if Valve is providing those games on Windows, isn't that being open? The second one makes no sense. When it comes to game subscription service, every provider is responsible to carry their own weight, and they have to find ways to make their service competitive and creative. When it comes to Activision Blizzard, they were up for grabs. Oh, speaking of which, let's talk about PlayStation. They have their own subscription service, right? They are responsible to make their service competitive and creative. That's not Microsoft's problem. That's a Sony's problem. And when it comes to Activision Blizzard, Sony had the opportunity to purchase Activision Blizzard and did nothing. And then they had the opportunity to even call Activision Blizzard is there anything we can do? Can we help you? Can we assist you in anything? Like Phil Spencer said, it's not what they can do for us. It's how can we help you? Yeah. CMA, the UK regulators, you wouldn't want to deal with me in court over this. You wouldn't want to. Anyway, let me keep going here. Says here, it did not sufficiently cover the different cloud gaming service business model, including The first one still bugs me too. Like, okay, if I give a 10-year contract to say Nvidia GeForce Now or to Valve, once the 10-year contract is up, you know they can still call Microsoft and say, okay, we need another 10 years. Just saying. This stuff makes no sense. Their decisions on this makes no sense. It makes no sense. It did not sufficiently cover different cloud gaming service models, including multi-game subscription service. When it comes to the Epic Game Store, they can call Microsoft and be like, "Look, we want a 10-year contract with you guys with Call of Duty." They can't do that, you know. So can Valve. So can Nvidia. So can Nintendo. Once that 10-year contract is up, Nintendo can call Microsoft like, "Look, we need another 10 years with Call of Duty." So can the EE. So can Boosteroid. So can Ubitus. These three makes no sense to me whatsoever. It really doesn't. And I can argue this in front of any judge. If Microsoft gives you 10 years, and once that 10 year is up, you can't go back and call Microsoft and be like, "Look, we need to extend this another 10 years. Duh. That means, and Nintendo, Ubitus, EE, Boosteroid. Let's see here. Let me see. Ubitus, Boosteroid, EE, Nvidia, and Nintendo. Once that 10-year contract is up, they can't call Microsoft and say, "Look, we need to add another 10 years to this." Or like, let's say they're in year 9, they could be like, "You know what? Our contract is about to expire. We need to extend it." This makes no sense. These three arguments that they're trying to make makes no sense. It's the same thing with PlayStation. Let's say Microsoft had gave PlayStation 10 years with Call of Duty. It would be the same as PlayStation going to Nvidia. I mean not to Nvidia, but to Activision Blizzard to renew it. It would be the same with Microsoft. It'd be like, "Okay, we gotta our 10-year contract is about to expire. We need to renew it. We got like 1 year left." Anyway, look. Activision Blizzard was really up for grabs, and Microsoft beat everybody to the punch with this. And based on these decisions that I'm reading, it seems like the CMA and the UK, they don't understand. I don't think they understand video games. I don't think they really understand the video game market like they claim they do. I don't think they really understand this business. You know, the video game market is competitive. And it's just like the tech industry. It's very competitive. Every provider is responsible to carry their own weight. Every provider is responsible to make their business competitive and creative. The competitors are not responsible for that. Yep. So Microsoft purchasing Activision Blizzard. Activision Blizzard was up for grabs. So Microsoft giving 10-year contracts to Nintendo, Nvidia, EE, Boosteroid, and Ubisoft, right? If that contract is about to expire, right, it means they can renew it. That's what it means. And based on this, I'm sitting there looking at it, I'm realizing that they really don't understand this business like they claim they do. When EA was buying studios, liquidating them, did that stop the game industry from thriving or growing? No. So Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard doesn't stop anything. It doesn't stop competition. The game industry will always grow because we have game shows, right? Like Gamers.com, Game Developers, Tokyo Game Show. We had the E3, and then we got Summerfest. We got all these game shows that happen within a year, right? Yes, they are about celebrating the achievements in video games, right? And how far they have come with video games, right? But it's also about It's also about networking with different people, and that's how studios are formed. You know, some studios are formed by people that are in colleges that have a love for gaming, and they took it a step further. But the game industry as a whole does not stop from growing. When it comes to when it comes to the game industry too, it's all about being consistent. It's all about being consistent. Sony had 3 shooters. 3. Resistance, SOCOM, and Killzone. And those 3 developers, they weren't consistent enough. Like Activision was with Call of Duty. Activision has been consistent year in and year out. Every time they bring out a new Call of Duty, it's a new story. It's new gameplay mechanics. It's new features. They never stop. They never stop making Call of Duty. They kept going. They gave you different versions. from Call of Duty 1, 2, and 3 to Modern Warfare 4 to World at War. They gave you the modern version, then they gave you the World War II version of Call of Duty, and then now then they have the Battle Royale now, which is Warzone. Activision has been consistent with Call of Duty. When it comes to Killzone, when it comes to Sony with Killzone, SOCOM, and Resistance, those developers were never consistent. They were never committed. Activision, they were committed to Call of Duty, because every time they come out with something new, the user base kept growing, and that's how they found success. They haven't took their foot off the gas yet. They were consistent. So to have success in this game industry, you have to be consistent. It's just like Sega with Sonic. Sega has been consistent. They gave you different versions of Sonic, but they kept the momentum going. You have to be consistent when it comes in this game industry if you want to have success. Success doesn't stop at one game. It doesn't stop at one game, or the first game, the second game, or the third game. The game keeps growing. It's like the developer is responsible to make sure that the game grows. So when it comes to Call of Duty, man, Activision has been consistent. And Sony had 3 shooters. And those developers, they weren't consistent. It's like they lost the motivation, they lost the desire, the will, the ambition to keep the series going. Activision, on the other hand, they just kept coming like this, kept coming. That's how they got success with Call of Duty. So when it comes to this game industry, you have to be consistent in order to get success, and that's the name of the game. Okay? So to me, the CMA's finding today doesn't even sound right. To me, it does not even sound right, because Microsoft giving everybody 10-year contracts. It doesn't mean that once the 10-year contract is up, they can't renew it. They can. They can renew the they can renew the 10-year contract once it is up. So to me, the CMA, I think they're still trying to learn more about this game industry. Like they said before, they were more concerned about cloud gaming, and they're trying to learn about it. So to me, they're still trying to learn about this business. And Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard does not stop the game industry from moving. And when it comes to video games versus digital copy versus the physical copy, that's a personal, that's a developer's decision. They have the choice to make it physically or digitally, or just do digital alone or physical alone. It's just a personal decision. It does not stop competition within the market, man. It doesn't stop competition. So to me, this decision that they made is like, it's kind of shaky, and it's like talking about dynamism or dynamism in the game industry. It's just like, it doesn't stop anything, man. The game industry is a revolving door that just keeps moving, keeps growing. You know, new studios are being formed every day. I would love to see how if they're gonna rule. I want to see how they rule against Sony too, with this time exclusive. I want to see how they rule against Sony too. I want to see how the CMA rule against Sony with their time exclusive monopoly that they got on video games. I would love to see that. But anyway, that's my little thoughts on the whole situation. But it's kind of shaky, you know. It's like their decision is based on cloud gaming. It's like I don't think they understand it. At first, you were saying you didn't think that Game Pass wasn't going to cause any harm, but now you're Now you're saying that it's about cloud gaming. I think the CMA and the UK regulators, I don't think they understand video game. I don't think they understand video games like they say that they do. And that's just my thoughts on the whole thing. I could keep talking about this more, but the decision that I'm reading is like, no. Because everybody is responsible when it comes to this subscription service war, subscription service in video games. Every provider is responsible to make their business model creative and competitive. They're responsible, you know. Whether it's EA with their subscription service, whether it's Ubisoft, whether it's who else? Whether it's PlayStation, whether it's even Nintendo, everybody's responsible to carry their own weight. But to say they try to make it look like once the 10-year contract is up, like people can't renew it. That's what the CMA failed to realize. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this video for y'all to enjoy. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still Star Wars and Star Trek fan for Dark Side. Go. Peace.